Hello everybody, and welcome to the Spring 2019 semester of British Literature 2. That's English 21-22. So I am Mr. Smith. I will be your instructor for the next 16 weeks or so, and we are going to go on a journey through British history and British literature history, starting with the Romantic period, which is around the turn of the century of the 18th century. So we're going to pick it up around, actually the 19th century. We're going to pick it up around 1795 or so, and we're going to take it all the way into the 21st century with authors like Zadie Smith and other authors as well. So here's what we need to do now. So I'm going to go ahead and speak for a few minutes here. I'm not going to try to take up too much of your time because I know that many of you are taking this online class because you're very busy. And I understand that, and I want to respect that. So I'm not going to sit here and babble for far too long. But there are some things I feel like I need to say in this introductory video. First of all, welcome. I look forward to taking this journey with you. I do this every semester, and I really love it. And I think that this is going to be a fun course. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to read some great authors, and you're going to find that quotes that you thought you knew came from places you didn't expect. So one thing you're going to want to do this week is go ahead and go into the syllabus and schedule folder, and there will be a syllabus there, and this will look familiar to you. And I'm not going to go through this syllabus line by line, but there are some things in this syllabus I want to draw your attention to. Some of this is pretty standard stuff that you've seen over and over. I'm sure that now that you're in a sophomore level class, you've probably seen dozens of syllabi by now. So the contact information and stuff is up here. The textbook. The textbooks is a 3-book set. The Norton Anthology of English Literature. And what I have in my hand here is the 10th edition. The 9th edition will work pretty well, except for the final reading of the semester. The 10th edition added one more reading that was not in the 9th edition that I really feel like should be a part of this course, especially at Albany State University, where we're trying to have more diversity and more inclusive literature. And Norton did that with that final reading in this edition that's not in the 9th edition. So we'll have to find a way to get you that final reading in the final week of the semester. But every other reading you can get in the 8th edition, the 9th edition, or in this case, the 10th edition. And it's a 3-book set with the Romantics, the Victorians, and then, of course, the 20th and 21st century. So make sure you get the whole set. It's not that expensive. I mean, you're going to be buying much more expensive books than this if you haven't already. And you get a lot of great stuff in here. In fact, I have students tell me all the time, after the semester, I'm selling all my textbooks back except for this Norton Anthology. They like the readings in it so much, and they want to keep it on their bookshelves so they can tell people, hey, I've read some great British literature. So you might want to consider that as well. So Norton Anthology of English Literature, 10th edition, Stephen Greenblatt, the editor. The information you need is on the syllabus, and the ISBN number will make sure that you get the exact set of books that you need. So the ISBN number works like a barcode. So it'll be very specific to that 3-book set. All right, so the attendance policy, sign in twice a week if you expect to pass this class. That's just common sense. If you don't sign in, if you go 4 or 5 weeks without signing in, you're not going to do very well. Let's see. The no-show period, if you're watching this video, you're not going to have to worry about that because I won't report you as a no-show, because the only way you can watch this video is to actually sign in through the class. Makeup work is on a case-by-case basis. I have a listing of documentation here that will work for that. Grades is something you're familiar with. Here's the breakdown of how the grade is broken down. So there'll be a posting every week, weeks 2 through 15. That'll be 20% of your grade. There will be quizzes on the weekly readings. This is how I know you've actually read the work. You have to actually read in order to pass the quizzes. There are 3 different exams. There's not going to be like an ultimate final exam, but there will be exams for every one of these books. So the Romanticism exam, the Victorian exam, and then of course the 20th century exam. All right. The plagiarism policy. You plagiarize, I give you a 0. And I don't give you a chance to make it up. The ASU plagiarism policy is on this link. You probably have been directed to it by another instructor before. I would say do not plagiarize, do not cheat in this class. If you do, you're not going to do well. You're going to fail. I take this very seriously. Academic honesty is something that everybody should be responsible for. And the handbook here talks about the school's policy on that as well, which is essentially the same as mine, which is you cheat, you get a 0. End of story. All right, some of this stuff is not going to apply to people that don't actually attend on campus, but it is required in the syllabi and for good reasons. So the campus carry policy by Albany State, if you don't go on campus, then that doesn't necessarily matter to you. Or if you're in Florida or if you're in Alabama or something like that. I also sometimes will have students that are stationed on military bases around the world in these online classes. Campus carry doesn't apply to you. But if it just so happens that you are a student that attends classes on campus as well as this class, the campus carry stuff will apply to you. Sexual harassment, of course, that'll be something handled by the Title IX people. Writing Center. I'm trying to give you all the resources you need to succeed in this class. I am not trying to fail anybody. So if you need to use the Writing Center, there is an online option, and you can use that as well. And then technology. This is an online class. Technology is something that's going to be necessary. And then finally, I want to talk about this extra credit opportunity. I want to make the statement now that the time to worry about your spring 2019 British literature grade is today. You cannot fall behind and expect to do well in this class. And I will not, if you have not been doing your work throughout the semester, answer an email that you send to me saying, Mr. Smith, I know I haven't done anything in 6 weeks or 8 weeks. Can I do any extra credit so I can pass this class? I really need it to graduate. Sorry, there won't be an opportunity for you. The best way to pass this class is to stay caught up and to do your work. You're not going to get an opportunity at the end of the semester to do any kind of extra credit that will raise your grade from an F to a C magically. So make sure you pay attention to that. And then, of course, after that, we have this schedule. So if you want to look ahead and see what we're reading throughout the schedule, that would be interesting to you, go ahead and do that. So let's talk about week 1. What are we going to do during week 1? We are going to have basically a history lesson of England and Great Britain, essentially, but mostly England, from the time of the Celts and the Anglos and the Saxons up to the age of the Enlightenment. And you may be asking yourself, why are you doing this? First of all, some of you may not have your books yet. Understandable. So, this will be a chance for you to go ahead and get your books through Amazon or go to the bookstore and get your books, or, get that done and be ready come week 2. The other reason is that a lot of what we do, especially in the early part of this semester, will reference things in British history, such as the Magna Carta, such as the Declaration of Right, such as certain kings and such. So, in order to understand a lot of what you're going to read, you have to have a little understanding of what came before it. There's a historical context to everything you're going to read, and the history of England, or the world even to a certain extent, is going to factor in very heavily into this semester's readings. All right, so how do you do week 1? There will be a quiz. It won't be that difficult. In fact, if I remember right, it's all multiple choice. Or no, it's not. It's not actually all multiple choice. You're going to actually have to answer the questions. But there's a PowerPoint slideshow in the week 1 folder with the history of Britain from the early times up through about the year 1800. The questions you can use in conjunction with the quiz and your search engine, Google or Yahoo, whichever one you prefer. So this is a quiz that's open internet, I guess, for lack of a better term. So use your slideshow, use your internet connection, learn what the Magna Carta is, what the Declaration of Rights is, who were the Celts, what impact did the Romans have on England. Not many people know this, but when the Roman Empire was at its height, England was within the Roman Empire. Julius Caesar himself visited England. There's actually a wall up there that separates England from Scotland called Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian was a Roman emperor because Hadrian thought that those folks up in Scotland were savages and he didn't want them invading the English villages. A lot of English language is influenced by Latin because of the Romans, by the Germanic languages of the Celts, the Anglos and the Saxons, and by the languages of places like Norway and Sweden, where the Vikings had come down from the north into England. So the English language is heavily influenced by that. So while this may seem like a history lesson in this first week, it will lay the foundation for what you're going to learn, starting with the Romantic period when we start next week with Wordsworth and Coleridge. So take that quiz, do well on it, look through the syllabus on your own, learn my policies and stuff, and I am really looking forward to a good semester. So welcome to the class, and I really do truly hope that you will find that this is an enjoyable class and one that you will learn a lot in.